Hi, Diane here, and it is the anniversary of the moon landing. So I thought I would pop in and give you a video of 5 reads to get you into the vibes of the moon landing anniversary. First up is the Astronaut Wives Club. So this was a limited edition TV series a couple years ago, but the book is super fun too. Great to experience the moon landing through the lens of the women who are married to the astronauts, the first Mercury 7 astronauts, the first set of astronauts to embark on the moon landing mission. So that was tons of fun. Next is fiction, and this is Shoot the Moon. This is by Arsen. I read this in 2023. It was actually my favorite book of the year that year. And it's a kind of like hint of sci-fi-ish alternate narrative about the moon landing. It's about a NASA secretary and working on the program to get to the moon and a little alternate timeline situation. So I loved this book. It gave me all the feels. It kind of tore out my heart and put it back together, and really just, it hit me the way books sometimes can hit you. Next is Rise of the Rocket Girls. I found this book in a book warehouse a couple years ago. I found it in 2019. I think it came out in 2016. I really love this book. I had seen Hidden Figures. I was aware of that story. And until I read this book, I didn't really understand the scope of women in the space race. We always hear about how there weren't a lot of opportunities for women in the 50s and 60s. So it was great to read this and discover that in the space race, in the quest to get to the moon, there were actually these laboratories and research facilities all around the country where women who had mathematical skills were finding work and being able to really flourish. So this was really great in opening my eyes to the role of women in the space race. Next is another fiction read. This is for you people who don't really want to get like hit over the head with moon landing. You just want a little whisper of moon landing. So this is Summer Wives by Beatriz Williams. I've read almost all of her books, and I had this one on my shelves. I was looking for something new to read, and I saw it and I thought, oh, I haven't read that one yet. So I picked it up, and I was so surprised and happy to discover that of the dual timeline happening in this story, one of those timelines is the summer of 1969, and the moon landing is like taking place in the background. So it's not part of the story, it's the background of the story. It's definitely much more of a literary fiction story about a family and some dynamics that are taking place over a summer, and like between a couple families. But the moon landing is there, so this kind of gives you the feeling, if that's all you want. It's your vermouth on top of your martini. I think. I'm not a martini drinker. Okay. Next up is Moonshot. This is about the quest to get to the moon, and it's about creativity and collaboration and the mindset for success, which I think is all there in the subtitle. But I really enjoyed this one because, like, if you're all into the planning and goal setting world, you kind of know, you don't just wake up and like, tomorrow I want this big thing that is going to take a lot of time to get to. You understand that there are steps along the way. And this really talks about that, about like, they didn't wake up one day and say like, hey, that moon up there that we've been looking at for centuries, like, let's go there tomorrow. No, they had to have teams who worked together and collaborated and figured out the technology and figured out the research, and sometimes things didn't work and they had to learn from them. And that's how any goal is. You try things, and if it doesn't work, what do you learn from it? And you try something else. So this was unique in that it's kind of inspirational, but it is all framed against the moon landing. So that's really fun. If you are kind of into that like goal planning mindset kind of world, you might enjoy this as a supplement to other mindset things you read. Or if you're into the moon landing, you might enjoy this for this different perspective on how we got there. I say we. So those are my 5 reads for moon landing inspired books, but I do have one final one, which is like an extra. This is your bonus, and this is like if you want the deep dive. I'm about to finish this. Probably by the time this video goes up, I will have finished it. You can see I have a bunch of pages tape flagged. I have a couple dog-eared. This gives you the politics and the steps and the astronauts and the detractors and the all the things. It goes from like the beginning to the end, and it gives you everything. So this is your deep dive if you just want the full-on everything read. So that's it, my 5+1. Here's, let's see if you can see the titles. There's my 5. Here's my +1. And have a good moon landing anniversary.